The scene opens with housekeepers getting the house ready for Belinda. Everyone does the chores elegantly as they await her arrival. The entrance gates are opened by the guards, and a car enters. Inside the car, Belinda burps as she nervously looks out. At every burp, Jacob glances towards her, as he is repelled by her. She asks him if he is disgusted by her. He doesn't reply, and just looks away to avoid any awkward confrontation, though she continues. Belinda pulls out a body spray from her bag, and starts spraying it excessively. Driver coughs, while Jacob tries his best to not inhale the scent. Belinda is amazed at everything she sees, and looks out of the car. She is amazed at the house and a chapel. Belinda never believed that her father would be so rich, considering the situation she was in. Her life is about to change completely, and she never anticipated it. Driver spits outside, and it sticks to Belinda's head. This humbles her good, and she gets back in. Once they reach home, Belinda steps out, and is swarmed by the servants. She doesn't want the maid to get her things, but lets it go when she sees there is no other way around it. Jacob tells her to move quickly, as her family is waiting for her, and she does. Belinda nervously straightens her hair, as she walks into where the family is. Jacob urges her to go talk to her family, and she does. She sees a man standing and talking with a woman who is elegantly dressed. Belinda doesn't think twice, and just latches onto the man. She doesn't let him go and starts crying. Belinda tells him how she has missed him, and never thought she was ever going to meet him. The man hugs her back and cries too. Everyone looks confused at what is happening. Jacob quickly pulls her away from the man. He tells her that he isn't her father, and Belinda quickly regains her composure. The man has just lost a child and cried, as he too felt a connection with her. Belinda's real father comes up, and hugs her, welcoming her into the family. Belinda apologetically tells her father that the things she said to the stranger were meant for him. He acknowledges it and smiles tenderly. Her stepmother, Matilda, is also ecstatic to have her back in the family. Matilda walks up to her and excitedly welcomes her into the family. She asks Belinda's half-sister to do the same. Caitlin approaches them, and is almost immediately disgusted at the sight of her bare feet. Belinda explains that she left the shoes out, as they were dirty and didn't want to get the house dirty, as it is clean to perfection. Matilda scolds Caitlin for being rude to her sister, and explains that Belinda had a completely different life before coming here. Maybe her customs are distinct from theirs, but should be respected, nonetheless. Caitlin walks off without apologizing and acknowledging her mistakes. Jacob sees the encounter and brings her shoes to her. Matilda calls for the nanny, and Monina swings into the frame. She speaks perfect English, as she tells Belinda to follow her. Monina's tones and expressions change completely from cold to sweet when she talks to Jacob and gives him a heart. Monina's moment is cut short when Belinda comes in between them, and she has no choice but to take Belinda. As Belinda enters her room, it's better than any imagination she ever had. Belinda looks around in wonder and cannot believe that this room belongs to her. She gets on her bed and jumps up and down. Belinda graciously offers Monina that they can share the bed, as it's too big for her, but Monina is not having it. She ignores Belinda and tells the virtual assistant, Sirazah, to turn on the light. As Belinda hears the voice coming from apparently nowhere, she gets scared. Monina keeps ordering her, while Belinda looks around confused and scared. She keeps asking Monina where the voice is coming from, but she ignores her questions and walks out. Finally, after a struggle, Belinda finds the source of the voice. The virtual assistant keeps answering her questions in English, but Belinda doesn't understand a word. Instead, she takes off her shoe and throws it at Sirazah, causing it to fall and break almost instantly. At last, Belinda is satisfied. Everyone is waiting for Belinda at the dinner table. She is late, and Caitlin cannot wait any longer. She doesn't understand why they have to suffer for Belinda's sake. Finally, the queen of the hour, Belinda, arrives, and Caitlin finally takes a breath of relief. Belinda stands there awkwardly, as she realizes that everyone has been waiting for her. She sits, and Monina theorizes that the reason for her late arrival maybe is that she and Sirazah have become good friends. Belinda coldly tells her that Sirazah is gone, and that's the end of the virtual assistant's life. Aunt Matilda notices red spots on her arms, and upon inquiring finds out that Belinda isn't good with the technology. In the bath, she opened the water, and the temperature was higher than expected. Belinda reveals that when she saw the tub, she thought it was a perfect place to do her laundry, and that's how she spent her time. Aunt Matilda asks the nanny to bring ointment for Belinda, and tells her that she doesn't have to do these things by herself anymore. Her father watches the interaction with amusement. Caitlin has had enough, and suggests that they should start eating now. Their father agrees, and orders them to begin. Belinda is amazed, as she looks at the table and the food in front of her. Never in her life she had seen this much food put all together. She asks if this is the Last Supper, and calls Monina Judas. Matilda laughs wholeheartedly for a minute, as she finds her comment funnier than any joke. Her father explains that, as they had no idea what her favorites are, he ordered the cooks to make almost everything for her. Belinda is flattered, and promises to eat everything. Caitlin is appalled by her, and comments how Belinda would have eaten anything anyway. Belinda doesn't take this comment personally, and instead agrees with her. As she cuts the streak open, Belinda asks everyone to stop. She thinks that the meat is raw, and it isn't normal. Caitlin sighs and sarcastically asks Belinda if she has ever heard of medium raw. Belinda argues that this isn't medium raw but is so raw that this meat can be considered an alive animal. Father tells Monina to bring her a new steak that is cooked properly. Belinda doesn't want to annoy them and tries to stop Monina from taking it. But Monina isn't going to take no for an answer and tries her best to pry the plate away from her. Belinda fights back, and as a result of this struggle, the steak is pushed into Monina's face. She embarrassingly exits with a face laced with steak sauce. Matilda suggests that Belinda should start eating pasta till her steak is coming, and she does. Belinda is amazed at how tasteful the pasta is, and gobbles it up in one breath. Jacob sees her and notices something stuck to her teeth. He motions her to remove it, but she doesn't understand. Monina looks at them and cannot help but feel jealous of their interaction. Belinda doesn't get what he is trying to say, and instead thinks that he is asking her for a kiss. She shies away and asks him to at least be respectful of her father's presence. Jacob mentally facepalms himself and tells her out loud to remove whatever is stuck to her teeth. Belinda is embarrassed and tries to remove it with her fingers. Matilda keeps laughing as she finds it abundantly humorous, while on the other hand Caitlin's dinner has been ruined. Belinda is sitting on the steps outside when her father comes up behind her. He sits beside her and offers her the welcoming gift he has prepared especially for her. It's a beautiful silver watch, filled with stones that shine brighter than anything. Belinda finds the watch beautiful and is grateful for the present. Father wishes that things quickly become normal between them, and that this familiarity turns into a beautiful father-daughter relationship. He regrets not being part of most of her life, and wishes to make it up to her. Belinda explains that as she never had a father figure before, it is harder for her to accept one now, but she is trying her best. Belinda wishes that her mother was here too, and things would be much better. She teases her father that maybe her mother's ghost is standing behind him, and he turns around quickly, scared that she might be there. They laugh together at him. Belinda spends her night partying, as she keeps rolling and jumping on her bed. The next day, Monina goes to wake her up, and when she doesn't answer, Monina walks in. Belinda is laying on the floor, and Monina creeps up to her. As she sees her, Monina thinks that Belinda may have suffered something, and hovers her head above Belinda's. Belinda's eyes flutter open, and as she sees Monina's face above her, she sits up screaming. Belinda accuses Monina that she likes her romantically. Monina is disgusted by the mere suggestion, and tells her that she was only here to call her for breakfast. Belinda asks if breakfast will be served in bed, and Monina quickly retorts back that this is not the hotel as she thinks, and that she has to come to the breakfast table. Belinda is just happy that she gets the chance to be with her father, and runs outside screaming "Dad," but is disappointed to find out that he is already gone. She asks for Caitlin, and Monina tells Belinda that she is asleep. Belinda feels alone at the table, and asks Monina to join her, but she straight up refuses, citing intermittent fasting as the reason. Regardless, Belinda tries to get Monina to spill some information about her father's likes and dislikes, but Monina isn't having it. She rudely tells her to add him on Facebook if she cares so much about his interests, and instead runs to Jacob, who has just entered the house. Monina offers him tea and asks him to sit with her, but he refuses. Belinda looks at her with a hurt expression, as she had previously told her that she was fasting, but now is willing to sit and eat with Jacob. He ignores her and instead walks towards Belinda. He wonders why she isn't ready yet, as they have to go to her father's business. He gives her a phone that has all the necessary numbers she may need, including Jacob's. Belinda is amazed at the technology in her hands, and asks Jacob to tell her how to use it. She opens the camera as Jacob guides her. Belinda looks into the camera and is amazed at how pretty she looks. She asks Jacob to join her for a selfie, who at first refuses, but then agrees hesitantly. Monina has no option but to see all this with horror. She wishes that the roles were reversed, and that instead of Belinda she was there beside Jacob. When they take the picture, Belinda looks at him with a smirk. She tells him that she knows he likes her. She thinks that only a mere thought of her makes him excited. Jacob stares at her dumbfoundedly and doesn't know what to say. Her delusion seems to take over her senses, and she doesn't even know. Jacob scolds her for suggesting this, and informs her that he is here only to take her to her father's office. Belinda's father is the owner of one of the most famous hotels in the country. When Jacob asks her if she knew her father's occupation, she flaunts she did just to make it seem like she is close with her father, when in reality she didn't. He is disappointed in her. He leaves after telling her to get ready in a minute, and she takes up the challenge. Although she won the challenge and got ready in a minute, now her stomach aches because of how much she has eaten in a small amount of time. They walk inside the hotel, and she is amazed at how big and sophisticated it looks from the inside. Jacob tells her that her father is a fine businessman. The only thing he is missing in his life is a supportive shoulder. His work schedule gets so messed up sometimes that he even forgets to do basic things. He forgets to eat food on time, and sometimes doesn't even sleep properly. Belinda is perfect to be such a person, someone he can rely upon. Belinda brags that this isn't something she cannot do. Instead, she is going to do it better than everyone expects. When Jacob tells her to familiarize herself with everyone working, her false facade of confidence breaks, and she throws up on Jacob's shoes. He looks down in disgust, but there is nothing that he can do about it. They are in her father's office, and she puts all the blame on Jacob as he was hurrying her. She calls it a minute challenge. Aunt Matilda hears her rants affectionately and sympathizes with her. Her father walks toward them and regretfully informs them he has to leave for China. He is disappointed that he cannot spend more time with his daughter like he planned to. Matilda tells Belinda that his VP is gone, and they cannot seem to find one. Father wonders who could be the best option for such role, and his eyes fall on Belinda, who has no idea about what's going on. He suggests that Belinda can take up the role, and Belinda proudly agrees. Belinda is sure that she is the best option they have, and will prove it to him. Matilda comes up with the idea that the best person to guide her is Jacob, who can show her how things are done around here. Matilda has taken Belinda and Caitlin to a spa. She goes first and leaves Belinda and Caitlin behind. Belinda stands up and takes in the scent. It's like a dove, but nothing like she has ever smelled before. Caitlin walks up behind her and asks if she has ever been to a spa before. Belinda has never, but regardless she tells her that she knows a barber who gives massages after the haircut. Caitlin smiles and tells her that this one here is totally different than what she has experienced before. She tells her that Belinda has to be naked in there, and this scares her, just like Caitlin has planned. Belinda walks in naked, and Caitlin jumps out screaming surprise. This is all a prank, and she videotapes Belinda. All the spa girls see her naked and scream in horror. Matilda comes out wondering what is happening outside, and is shocked to see the sight in front of her. Later after the ruckus, Matilda scolds Caitlin for playing such a cruel prank on Belinda. She grounds Caitlin to teach her a lesson. Spa girls still haven't gotten over it, and are crying in the background. Next, Matilda takes her for wax. There Belinda lies in pain, while the girl continuously asks her questions to keep her distracted. Today was their makeover day. Belinda's father and Jacob are talking when Matilda walks in. She has a new look, but wants them to see someone else first. Belinda walks in with high heels on and an expensive dress. She looks completely different than she did before. Jacob stares at her with his mouth wide open, as he cannot believe it's the same person. She twirls as she approaches them, and they are all in awe of her. Belinda is looking at her father's family picture. He comes up from behind and tells her that once he gets the chance, they will have another photo shoot alongside her. She shyly looks away but is happy to hear that. He tells her that he has to leave early, and Belinda assures him that she will do her best. He is happy to hear that, and lets her know that she doesn't have to follow everything Jacob says, but also can make decisions of her own free will. Belinda walks along with Jacob, who tells her about the hotel. He gives her an overview and estimate about the guests, and a simple introduction, but Belinda is more fixated on her surroundings. She greets everyone who passes by, and is amazed by the architecture around her. Belinda asks Jacob to repeat from the start, and he looks at her in disbelief. Belinda hasn't heard a word he said since he started talking. Just as he is about to speak again, a man approaches Jacob and tells him that there is a phone call for him. He leaves, but not before telling her to focus more on her training than her surroundings. Belinda foolishly mimics his gesture, and then takes out her phone. She speaks into the phone, telling everyone about her day when she approaches a dustbin. A lady dressed in a cleaner's uniform comes up to her. She asks her if she is a trainee, and Belinda naively agrees, not knowing the context. Despite protests from Belinda, the cleaning lady takes her with her. Turns out she has been waiting for an intern, and thinks Belinda is the one. She makes her clean the whole bathroom, and Belinda continues to do so, thinking it's part of her training. Jacob looks for Belinda all over the place, and when he finally enters the restroom, he is surprised to see Belinda wiping the restroom's floors. He approaches them and asks the lady if she knows who Belinda is. She doesn't, and he introduces her. Lady cannot believe that she was forcing the owner's daughter to mop the place, and is regretful. She apologizes to her multiple times, but Belinda is understanding. She tells her that it was no big deal, and she didn't mind working. They walk into a room, and Jacob scolds her for following anyone who tells her to. As she hears him talk angrily, her stomach grumbles again and she nearly faints. Belinda sheepishly tells him to never talk with her like that again, and he sincerely apologizes. Belinda wonders where they are now, and he reveals that this will be her new office. She looks around, and despite being around the family for quite a few days, is still in awe of everything. She sits on her chair beside the desk, and pretends to be a cruel king from the past, calling her imaginary servants to burn Jacob. She doesn't want to be alone in this big room, and is frightened that the Siraza-like voice doesn't scare her again, but instead something more horrific happens. Manana appears from behind her chair, and Belinda almost faints from the scare. Manana comes out, and again after seeing Jacob, her facial expressions change, and she becomes sweeter than normal. Jacob informs Belinda that from today Manana will be her assistant. Belinda is happy with this decision, as she finds Manana's face very generic, and it reminds her of her home. She unknowingly insults her more by calling her a squid, but Manana ignores her comment. A teacher is there to teach Belinda some basic etiquette. Her first lesson is about handshakes, and she seems to be bad at this too. Belinda protests that she wouldn't just shake hands with an unknown person, so the teacher asks her to come up. She tells Belinda to give her an understanding of how she would shake hands with someone. The teacher extends her hand, and Belinda smacks it and retreats her hand. This is worse than the teacher had thought. She asks Jacob to join them, and when Belinda shakes hands with him, she quickly notices how soft his hands are. She examines them while Monica watches in pain. The teacher tells her to hold his hand more firmly and look him in the eyes. As they do, Jacob smiles faintly as warmth engulfs them both. Everything fades around them as Belinda looks at him, and nothing else matters. Monica sees this and can feel the intensity. Their moment is cut short by the teacher, who brings them both back to reality and tells Belinda to smile. Belinda has suddenly forgotten how to smile and instead of doing it, makes weird faces at Jacob. The teacher asks Jacob to show her how it's done. They again shake hands, but this time Belinda presses his hand so firmly that he nearly loses his hand. The teacher walks off, disappointed. Her second lesson is eating elegantly. Things aren't going well here as well. Belinda keeps talking with her mouth full, and the teacher is nearly in tears. She begs Belinda to stop talking while eating, but Belinda doesn't seem to control herself. The teacher asks her if she has ever been to a restaurant, and as expected, besides some noodle shops, she has never been to one. So, the teacher comes up with a plan and asks Jacob to take her with him. Monica's ears perk up, and she comes asking if they are going on a date. The teacher clarifies that only Jacob and Belinda are going, and it's for educational purposes only. Monica tries her best to get in, but the teacher refuses her pleas, and knows it will be best if only two of them go. Jacob tries to protest, but stops when he sees the teacher crying because of Belinda's progress. They go to a fancy restaurant, but Belinda isn't too happy with her dress. She keeps pulling her dress down as it's too tight for her, and everyone seems to notice. Jacob is embarrassed and tells her to stop doing whatever she is doing. She doesn't, but they nevertheless make their way toward their designated table. Once there, Jacob tells her how to put the cloth on her lap and advises her that if she ever finds herself in a situation where she doesn't know what to do, just follow the people around her. Belinda, of course, takes this advice out of context and rolls her eyes at the man, who had just rolled his eyes at her when she kept staring at him. Jacob shakes his head, thinking there is nothing that can be done. Just in time, the soup arrives, and Belinda remembers the lesson from her training with the teacher. She picks up the right spoon and starts slurping the soup. At that moment, a girl approaches them, and she seems like she knows Jacob. Turns out the girl, Trixie, has been friends with Jacob for a long time, and she has just returned from her journey. Trixie and Jacob are catching up when they hear loud slurping voices from behind. When they turn around, they find out it's Belinda. Things are more awkward than anything, and Jacob hesitantly decides to introduce the two. Trixie asks him if she is his girlfriend, to which he replies to an affirmative no. Upon hearing this question, Belinda's stomach again grumbles, but she controls it this time. Trixie extends her hand, and Belinda takes it. She shakes her hand firmly but gently and does a little dance. Jacob tries to hide his face with his hands, but is unsuccessful in the attempt. Belinda notices her nose and asks if she has done a nose job. Trixie is speechless and looks at Jacob for help. Jacob again clarifies that she is only his boss's daughter and that this date is only a business thing. Trixie looks relieved but leaves quickly. Before leaving, Belinda again embarrasses Jacob by throwing water at a random stranger, and Jacob has had enough. He storms off, and Belinda follows him quickly. Jacob turns around and he is fuming with anger. He tells her that she cannot even begin to imagine how the whole situation was embarrassing for him. He doesn't think that Belinda will ever achieve success if she keeps the same attitude. Belinda is ashamed of her actions and justifies that her life before was completely different. She is thrown into a new lifestyle, and it seems to spiral out of her control. She begs Jacob for another chance to prove herself. She only needs patience and time. This time, Belinda is determined to impress Jacob and asks Monica for her help. She graciously accepts her request and starts teaching her. Monica tells her all the things that are required, and even some words in English to make a good impression. They throw water at each other in turns, as teaching is just an excuse for them to have fun. But at the end of the day, Belinda is fully prepared for her date with Jacob. This time, Belinda seems to know what she is doing. She is good with cutlery and eats food with care and elegance. Jacob is impressed, but thinks that she still needs some more practice. Belinda is happy to hear that. She tells him that his childhood was only filled with roses and comfort. That's why he doesn't understand where she is coming from. From where Belinda belonged, they would be considered lucky if they had something other than rice to eat. It's not her fault that she doesn't know about many dishes, but she is learning, and with time she will be better. Jacob smiles softly at her as she struggles with the pronunciation of the dish's name. Jacob takes her to his secret place, which he only goes to when he needs to distress or just feel better in general. He is sharing his secrets with her and making her a part of it. He asks her if she ever had some dreams growing up. He is in the place where he always wanted to be, and this was his dream. He wonders what dreams Belinda had while growing up. She tells him that in the place she is from, she couldn't afford to dream. This was only imagination for her. They were more worried about what they are going to eat rather than such dreams. Belinda is worried that if she doesn't prove her worth in front of her father, he will never truly accept her. She fears that he might be ashamed of her, but Jacob is confident in her abilities. As she speaks, he looks at her intensely. Belinda stops, thinking that she might have said something wrong, but Jacob smiles, letting her know that everything is fine. When she sees him smile, she wonders if he still thinks she is a clown. He is, but not as much as he did before. Belinda sees this as a chance and asks him if he is dating Trixie. He is surprised that she even thinks that way and denies everything. He never at any point in his life dated Trixie, and after hearing this, Belinda cannot help but feel relieved. They laugh as Belinda calls him a playboy, and they keep laughing the whole ride back home. They have reached Belinda's home and are still cracking the lamest of jokes. It's time to leave, and neither of them know how to. They awkwardly stare at each other and then hug. At first, it is very clumsy, but when they ease into it, it lasts longer than it should have. Manana is seeing everything from the inside and dramatically falls to the floor. Her heart is broken after seeing this, but only wishes them well. Belinda suddenly enters and surprises Manana. She stands up and holds Belinda's hands. With tears in her eyes, she tells her to only focus on her. She wants them to be happy and not think of her well-being. Belinda doesn't understand and just nods to everything Manana is saying. Belinda, along with Jacob and Manana, walks into the hotel. Manana, still heartbroken, dramatically fans herself with her hands as she sees two of them walking from behind. Jacob tells Belinda that today her training is all about observing what happens during the board meetings. It's like a bomb thrown at her without any notice. Before leaving, he mentions that they may ask her questions, and Belinda knows that she is doomed. In the meeting, the two members are arguing about the business. Belinda takes note of everything that is being said, but when one of them asks her if she wants to add something to the conversation, nervousness takes over her. The same thing happens that happens all the time when she is put under the spotlight. Her stomach grumbles as loud as it can. Jacob motions her to speak as everyone waits for her response, but the only thing she says is that she has to use the restroom and leaves abruptly. Everyone in the room is surprised at her behavior. She goes to the restroom, and in there she hears cleaning ladies talking about her. They discuss how she is so lucky to have a rich father, the one she never even knew about. Her life seems perfect to them. They all cover their nose because of the stink, and when they see Belinda coming out, they readily apologize for talking about her. Manana is looking for Belinda everywhere, and when she cannot find her, she urges Jacob to look for her. He searches for her and finally comes to the laundry room, and he can hear noises coming from inside the room. He hides behind a wall and sneakily looks inside the room. Belinda is dancing with all the cleaning ladies and making a TikTok. She tells them gently how to do every step and is very affectionate with them. They profess that she is so much different and better than Caitlin. Belinda tells them to always come to her if she does something wrong. In this way, she can always fix her shortcomings. Jacob sees her conversing with them so casually as if they are a family. Belinda sees Jacob and pulls him in to dance with them. He doesn't want to, but when he sees that she is persistent, he gives in and follows her every dance move. They all laugh as they spend the best time together. When they come back home, a pleasant surprise is waiting for her. Her father has returned, and she runs up to him to hug him. He tells her how he is so proud of her. He was told by her teacher and even Matilda that she has improved greatly. Caitlin rolls her eyes as she sees everyone praising her. Father thinks that she is ready to be introduced to the stakeholders. Belinda gets nervous as she thinks she isn't yet, but her father insists she is. At night, Belinda cannot sleep and comes outside. There she sees Manana sitting beside the pool. Turns out that both have lost their sleep for one reason or another. Manana and Belinda both confess together that they are nervous. Belinda goes first and tells Manana that the reason for her nervousness is what her father had said earlier today. She is afraid that in front of the board members she might say something wrong, and they'll hate her for it. Manana looks at her and grumpily tells her that the reason for her nervousness is that she has had a lot of coffee. Manana is nervous about Belinda, but is more excited for her. Belinda still thinks she isn't made for it, but Manana gives her an example of her hometown's mayor's son. When he got into politics, no one ever thought he was going to make it, but he ended up winning the elections. After the story, Manana asks Belinda if she has learned anything from it, and Belinda jokingly replies that yes, she is going to be a mayor then. Manana looks at her in disbelief, and Belinda laughs out loud. She tells Manana that she is going to miss her tomorrow, and Manana feels the same about Belinda. Their relationship has changed from love rivals to best friends. Belinda leans in for a kiss on the cheek, but Manana backs out. She suspects that Belinda has romantic feelings for her, and makes it clear that she isn't interested. Belinda smiles lovingly at her. The next day they are at the board meeting. Belinda nervously stands next to Jacob, who is constantly comforting her. She is finally the vice president. Her father introduces her to the board members and calls her onto the stage. She walks elegantly as she walks up the stage, but suddenly trips and almost falls. Belinda curses out loud, and the whole room hears it. Caitlin, who is standing on the stage, laughs at her misery. Everyone thinks that she is embarrassing, but Belinda ignores their comments and walks to the microphone. Belinda regains her composure and stands straight. She confidently introduces herself and promises to fulfill her duties and responsibilities faithfully. Everyone stands up and claps for her. She has smartly corrected her mistake, and everyone is starting to like her again. Afterward, her father introduces her to everyone. He is proud of his daughter's achievements and is glad that everything turned out well. Jacob is standing in the corner, and as he looks at her interacting with everyone with grace, he smiles fondly. Matilda approaches him and applauds him for taming Belinda just like she wanted. He nods and then Matilda tells him sternly that it's time to execute the next part of their plan. As he hears this, his smile quickly fades away. As Belinda and her father approach them, Matilda quickly stops talking and instead turns to them. She charmingly tells Belinda that she is very proud of her success and how she turned out to be in such a small period. Her father has something to do in his office, and Matilda decides to accompany him, leaving Belinda and Jacob alone behind. As soon as they are out of their sight, Belinda squeaks with excitement. She is happy that everything turned out to be good. If only she hadn't tripped earlier, it would have been perfect. Jacob listens to her talking, but doesn't say anything in return. He wearily tells her that her father is proud of her, and starts to walk away. Belinda notices that Jacob isn't being himself, and decides to follow him. She confronts him and asks why he is not proud of her. He was the one who helped her, and he should be proud of her progress. Jacob has no answer to her questions, and at that moment, Caitlin comes up to them. She excitedly calls Belinda and informs her that she has been looking for her everywhere. Jacob takes this as his chance to escape the confrontation, and doesn't think twice before leaving. Caitlin passes her a wine glass and tells her to taste it. Belinda doesn't drink much, so it's bittersweet for her. Caitlin doesn't seem to care and drags her to the bar where there are various kinds of drinks. She makes a drink and offers it to Belinda. Belinda tells her no, but Caitlin forces her, and she gives in. Caitlin seems to enjoy this and keeps making more drinks for her. Belinda refuses multiple times, but Caitlin ignores it every time and gives her more to drink. Eventually, Belinda gets drunk to the point where she starts slurring and walking clumsily. She turns on the music and walks up to the stage. Once Belinda has everyone's undivided attention, she starts dancing. Her dance steps are anything but graceful, as she jumps up and down and moves embarrassingly. Caitlin, who orchestrated this whole plan, takes out her phone and starts recording the incident on her phone. She doesn't seem to care for her sister's reputation and broadcasts it to all her audience. Everyone in the room laughs and mocks Belinda, but she is too drunk to notice. Belinda's dance video has spread through the internet like wildfire. Everyone seems to know about it. Belinda's father scolds Caitlin, but she is nonchalant about the whole incident. She lies that it wasn't her who shared it, but someone else who screen recorded it from her account. She knows she did wrong, but doesn't care, as she was already hoping that things would turn out this way. On the other hand, Belinda is looking through her phone and sees everyone making fun of her. Belinda never thought that all this fame would come with a price so expensive. So, she decides she is going to run away in the darkness of night. She puts on a hoodie so that she is unrecognizable. Belinda sneaks out of her room and is about to run away when a guard sees her. He aggressively stops her, and when she still tries to move, he holds her in her place. Tired of this, she tells him that she is Enrico's daughter, but he doesn't seem to recognize her. Instead, he asks her if she thinks he is blind, and isn't willing to let her go. Monina sees the commotion and comes for her rescue, but the table turns on her. The guard thinks that this was an inside job, and Monina was helping the robber. Monina and the guard have a fight, and all the family members are alerted when they hear the noises. As they all run out, they see Monina, Belinda, and the guard standing all together. Enrico is confused about what's happening. Monina speaks up and explains that the guard was refusing to believe that Belinda is his daughter, but the saddest thing he did was call Monina ugly. Enrico passionately proclaims that Belinda is his daughter. The guard feels guilty, but explains that this wasn't his fault. Belinda is the one who was trying to run away and told him to stay quiet. As Enrico hears this, he is hurt that his daughter was trying to leave him. He waited for her his whole life, and now thinks he hasn't done enough. When Matilda sees him getting hurt, she quickly changes the topic, and instead blames the guard for not recognizing Belinda. The guard apologizes and gives an excuse that he is new there. Enrico has had enough, and tells everyone to go inside. They do, but Belinda asks her father to stay behind. When everyone leaves, she tells him that she might not be ready to be part of his family. She has embarrassed him enough, and doesn't want to do it further. Enrico looks at his daughter with care and love, and tells her that no matter what happens, no matter what people say, nothing is ever going to change the fact she is his daughter. He can never be ashamed of her. She is his daughter, and nothing she ever does can truly make him hate her. What truly matters is what he thinks of her, and he understands that she isn't perfect. He doesn't expect her to be. She will make more mistakes, as this is a part of life. What matters is that she never breaks his trust. Belinda is motivated as she hears her father speak, and promises to do better in the future. They are both satisfied as they talk things out and walk inside. Jacob is at the parking when Matilda calls him. She is sitting inside a car, hiding, so that no one can see them meeting. He is surprised to see her but still walks towards her. She looks upset and tells him that if they don't rush things, everything they worked hard for might get lost. Jacob is uninterested in whatever plan they had, and wonders if there is any other option. Matilda is annoyed, as she doesn't understand why they would abandon their perfectly made plan. She promises him that if things work out in their favor, she will recommend the board to make him COO. Jacob has formed a connection with Belinda and doesn't want the position anymore, but Matilda threatens him that if he backs out now, she will tell Enrico that he was the one behind this master plan. Jacob is stressed as he knows that there is no way out. Belinda is inspecting one of her hotel's restaurants. She goes to each one of the workers and asks them about their salaries. As Belinda is talking with the waiters, Jacob walks in and sees her. She is looking the other way, and Jacob takes his time staring at her with love and sadness both in his eyes. She notices him and asks him to join her, but he makes up an excuse and leaves. Belinda is left there wondering what she has done wrong that Jacob is now avoiding her. Caitlin has her friends come over. They are standing outside waiting for the car when Belinda sees them. Belinda is alongside the company's cleaning ladies, eating fish balls. She enthusiastically invites Caitlin and her friends to come over and eat with them, but they are all entitled, and find it hard to believe that Caitlin's sister would even consider standing with such people. They ignore her and leave as soon as their ride arrives. Belinda cannot help but feel disappointed and dejected at her sister's behavior towards her, but pretends that she isn't hurt when she clearly is. Jacob comes into Belinda's office to get some papers signed. She is ecstatic to see him, but is soon disappointed when he again gives her a cold shoulder. He is there only for her to sign the papers and that's it. She tries to make a small conversation, but he doesn't give the proper answers she is seeking. Tired of his behavior, she asks him why he is acting this way. Jacob has nothing to say, but only that he has been busy looking after her father and Matilda. She suggests that they should go for dinner, as she wanted to treat him for all the hard work he did for her. He gives her the credit for all of her success and refuses. Before leaving, he apologizes, and Belinda sits there with a broken heart. Caitlin is at a party with her friends when a guy named Brett approaches her. Caitlin likes him, so her friend leaves them alone, but things quickly go south when he tries to get too comfortable with her. Caitlin furiously pushes him away and leaves. Belinda broods as she sits alone. Manana brings her food to cheer her up and asks what the matter is. Belinda tells her that she doesn't understand why Jacob is ignoring her. She wonders if he has fallen in love with her, and that's why he has been avoiding her. Manana is disappointed in her friend and advises her that the only way to get a guy's attention is to ignore him. If she will give her too much importance, it will be easier for him to forget her. Belinda reminds her that's exactly what Manana used to do when she fancied Jacob. Manana is aware and tells her that giving him more attention than he deserved brought her nothing but heartbreak. As they are talking, Caitlin enters crying. She tells Belinda everything, and they are on the move. They enter the same bar, and Belinda launches into attacking the first man she sees. Caitlin tries to stop her, but she is so furious that she doesn't even hear what Caitlin is saying, and instead keeps hitting him. Finally, Caitlin manages to cool her down and tells her that he isn't Brett, but someone else. She apologizes, but not before she blames the guy for not wearing a name tag. As they are busy there, Brett approaches them from behind. He tells Belinda that he is Brett and asks aggressively what she wants with him. As soon as she sees Brett, her stomach starts grumbling with fear, and she is unable to speak. Caitlin takes the charge and hits him hard in his crotch. She warns him to never touch her sister and also her, even if she likes him. They leave after Belinda curses everyone in the club. The next day, Belinda calls Jacob on a picnic date. He leaves everything and comes there as soon as possible, thinking there was some emergency, but there isn't any. Belinda tells him that Caitlin taught her that if she never stands up for herself, people will never know her true feelings and what's inside her heart. He is angry at her and tries to lecture her on the importance of time. But his speech remains unfinished when a water-filled balloon comes flying at him. It burst on his head, and he is drenched in water. Before he can talk again, Belinda throws another one at him. He forgets what he was saying, and soon it turns into a complete water balloon fight. As they play, Jacob realizes his true feelings for her and confesses to her. Hearing this, Belinda loses her voice, and they share an intimate moment. Belinda is in a meeting when her father and Matilda unexpectedly barge in. They don't appear to be in a good mood, and Enrico orders everyone to leave him and Belinda alone. As Jacob is leaving, he looks at Matilda and he knows what's going on. Enrico tells Belinda that although she is his daughter, he is the owner of the company, and he has to be fair in his judgment. Belinda doesn't understand what he is talking about and is greatly confused. Finally, Enrico reveals that they have lost almost 30 million pesos. This is the first time Belinda hears about this, and she genuinely has no clue, but her father is convinced that she is the one who stole from him. He tells her that if she needed money, she could have asked for it, but she decided to break his trust. He gets furious with each word he says. Belinda cries as she tries to explain to her father that she could never do this to him, but he isn't willing to hear anything she says anymore. He, with tears in his eyes, tells her to leave him alone. She has no option and does as told. As Belinda is walking out, she hears Matilda and Jacob talking. Matilda is the one who stole the money from Enrico. Turns out their plan from the start was to train Belinda so that when the money is lost, Belinda can take all the blame. Matilda acted so well, Enrico never even suspected her. Belinda's heart breaks as she hears Matilda talking about how Jacob trained her for failure. Jacob follows Belinda out and keeps asking her if she is all right. She doesn't reply to a thing he says, but instead tells him that she'll go home on her own and leaves. Belinda comes home and sees Enrico drinking. She comes up to him and for the last time, tries to tell him that she isn't a thief. She never cared about money or materialistic things. Instead, all she ever wanted was his approval. She wanted to make him proud, but couldn't do so. Belinda cries as she begs for forgiveness, but when her father doesn't say anything, it becomes clear that he will not forgive her. She takes off the watch he gave to her and leaves it behind. Belinda packs her bags and leaves. Caitlin and Manana come up to her begging her to not go, but Belinda doesn't have another option. She is back in the slums where she originally belonged to. Everyone greets her as they see her coming back. There she finally reunites with Mr. Kim, who was like a father to her in Enrico's absence, and she is again back to him. Jacob feels guilty about what he did to Belinda. He decides to come clean to Enrico, even if that means losing his license. But when he does, Enrico reveals that he already knows about what happened. He conducted his investigation and found out. He just doesn't understand how Jacob could knowingly do this to Belinda. Later, Enrico along with Manina goes to visit Belinda. She is alongside the sea and is surprised to see them here. Enrico tells her that he now knows she had no part in what had transpired. Matilda was doing this because, before marriage they had signed the prenuptial agreement, but then she started stealing from him. Matilda is going to be arrested soon for the crimes she committed. This time Enrico is the one begging her to come back. It's enough for Belinda that her father knows that she never broke his trust and forgives him. She wants to stay back here in her village till her studies complete, and then she will apply for a job in his company. She doesn't want everything on a silver plate, but wants to earn her place. Enrico understands and takes his daughter in a loving embrace. Belinda is in deep sleep, and when she opens her eyes, the face she sees is of Manina's. She sits up screaming and is shocked to see Jacob at her doorsteps. He tries to apologize, but Belinda turns around, refusing to even look at him. He explains that she is his future and nothing else matters, but she overreacts and he leaves. Manina tells Belinda that he has left and encourages her to run after him. She gives into the temptation and without thinking twice, she runs. Jacob keeps walking while Belinda follows him. She tells him that she was hurt by what he did and that her anger was justifiable. But no matter what she said, he wouldn't stop. Finally, she shouts that if he doesn't turn around, then that would mean he is a playboy. That seems to do the trick and he stops. The whole village is behind her and they seem happy for them. Jacob tells her that he is deeply in love with her. The whole crowd cheers for them and the movie ends as they share an intimate moment.